CBS News White House reporter Bo Erickson joins us now. He is in Las Vegas, where President Biden is set to address union workers later today. Bo, thanks very much for being with us. So first of all, has there been any response from the president to the latest charges against his son? And is there any indication that he will respond to them?
The White House is not commenting on this latest charges, and as the president left the White House to come here to Nevada, he did not respond to shouted questions by reporters there as well. But repeatedly as president, Mr. Biden has said he is not going to comment or get involved in investigations or questions about investigations by his own Justice Department into his son. However, as his father as well, as Hunter Biden's father, the president has stood by his son, and just earlier this summer, President Biden said he's very proud of his son. There is a question by some of the president's political allies if there is some interference potentially by President Biden or his White House, and we heard just a few months ago from Attorney General Merrick Garland when he told 60 Minutes that there has been no interference that he has seen into any of these investigations into Hunter Biden.
Well, Bo, President Biden is in Las Vegas to announce an over $8 billion investment into rail travel, including high-speed rail development in Nevada and California. It's a massive investment in passenger rail. What has been the reaction?
Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg says that this new funding is the largest investment in passenger rail since Amtrak was created more than 50 years ago. So President Biden is coming to Las Vegas today because one of the projects that they're funding with about $3 billion of federal money is a high-speed passenger rail line from Las Vegas to the greater Los Angeles area that is supposed to be ready by the time the Olympics come to Los Angeles in 2028. But there also is a political context to this stop. This is a state where President Biden just barely beat out former President Trump in the 2020 election by just over 2 percentage points. And as we look towards the election year next year in 2024, we'll be seeing if President Biden starts to make more stops in more of those battleground competitive states, because by my count, this is only the 8th trip Biden has made to a battleground or competitive state since he has launched his re-election campaign in April. And so he will need to kind of talk to these voters in order to ensure a win over potentially former President Donald Trump, if that is who he's running against next year.
All right, well, Bo, this trip also comes just days after a shooting at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas. Do you know how the president plans to address that today?
We were told by the White House press secretary that the president is supposed to talk about the shooting. It is unclear if he is going to visit the location of the campus here. It was just a few miles away from where he is speaking. But I have to note, this is a community that does seem really shaken by the shooting. On those flashing lights on the Las Vegas Strip behind me, it says UNLV strong on a lot of them, talking about the campus name where this took place. And it is also important to note that this is the location of the worst mass shooting just a few years ago in 2017, when more than 60 people and then hundreds of others were injured on a shooting just on the Strip behind me. This is a topic that the president talks a lot about on the campaign trail and while in the White House.
All right, Bo Erickson in Las Vegas for us. Bo, thank you.